Thanks to Brilliant for sponsoring this video. With the recent death of Lazar Dukic in the 2024 CrossFit Games, many are calling the safety of CrossFit competition into question. And this wouldn't be the first time. Throughout the years, CrossFit has gained many loyal followers, but despite its popularity, some skeptics just don't believe the hype, criticizing both its methodology and those who practice it. What started out as an edgy fitness revolution in the early 2000s, aiming to bridge the gap between Olympic weightlifting and endurance-based workout models, has developed into, as some say, the cult of CrossFit. I don't know. You tell me. From the outset, CrossFit fostered a no pain, no gain ethos. You know, bonded by blood. We suffer together. A pseudo-warlike mentality, which, believe it or not, was very intentional on the part of the creator. In a 2005 New York Times article, CrossFit founder Greg Glassman had this to say: "It can kill you. I've always been completely honest about that. If you find the notion of falling off the rings and breaking your neck so foreign to you, then we don't want you in our ranks."
The environment is to be able to get you through as many reps as possible. It's really about like trying to make things as competitive as possible. So there's a lot of appeal to that type of mentality. Coming into that environment, yeah, I'm gonna smash it, I'm gonna get after it.
In this sport, and yes, I say sport for the sake of the video, since CrossFit's goal is to be the sport of fitness, the competition's fierce and the intensity fiercer. I can't speak for every CrossFitter, but as an organization, CrossFit doesn't seem to be concerned about its dangerous reputation. It sometimes even glorifies aspects of it, like the idea of pushing yourself so hard that you end up puking. But when your sole focus is on the push, 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 health and safety tend to take a backseat. While Dukic's death was deemed to be an accident and CrossFit claims no responsibility, many people are labeling it as negligence on behalf of the organization.
There's 45 seconds that I can count that he is clearly struggling. I'm not a lifeguard, but as a human being, you can just look at someone and know that they're in distress.
And I saw him start to kind of scramble. He started to doing small turns and trying to get his head out of the water. And it was at that time that we started screaming to the lifeguard, like, he needs help. And then within seconds, he was under and he never came back up.
The competition included a 3.5-kilometer run, followed by an open water swim. As Dukic approached the finish line about 50 meters away, he started struggling. Two lifeguards were stationed about 10 meters away from him. Apparently, a spectator noticed Dukic going under the water and alerted the lifeguards.
My sister's boyfriend is also a cop. He was the one swimming out in the water looking.
However, the lifeguards told the spectator to get out, quickly checked the area where Dukic was last seen, and then returned to their original positions.
He jumped in the water and was turned away. Terrible. I mean, maybe if more people believed him, things would have actually transpired in a different way.
True to CrossFit's show must go on attitude, the event continued. Search and recovery efforts only began after the competition ended, by which time Dukic was long gone. Now, as world strongman and Masters of Science exercise physiologist Mitchell Hooper points out, Dukic was no CrossFit noob.
This is not an inexperienced athlete. This is a 4-time CrossFit Games athlete. This is someone who's at the top of the world and would have been one of the picks to win this event.
But like he says, swimming is probably the least competent thing that CrossFitters do. However, even if someone isn't a strong swimmer, it's not necessarily the fault of the organization, right? While certain activities do carry inherent risks, that doesn't mean they shouldn't be done. Events like triathlons, which are similar in style, also carry risks, about 1.5 deaths per 100,000 participants, mostly during the swim. But they are generally considered safe for well-prepared athletes due to their significant safety measures. Weather and water conditions are also important to prevent issues like dehydration, heat stroke, and hypothermia. At this particular CrossFit Games, the extreme heat, nearly 100 degrees Fahrenheit, made competition challenging from the start.
Yeah, you get in and you're like, this is not cool down water at all. Like it was like
the chip came through.
bath water. It's bad.
Typically, triathlons start with a swim and finish with a run, because by the second part of the race, athletes are typically moderately dehydrated and fatigued, as explained by George M. Dallum and colleagues in their article on the medical considerations in triathlon competitions. However, the CrossFit Games decided that the swim should go last, which proved to be a fatal decision.
Swimming is first in a triathlon and running is last, because if you can't run, you stop. If you can't swim, you die.
Exactly. Although CrossFit often follows its own unique approach, there are times when established methods are preferred for a reason. And then If an athlete starts drowning, should a competition be stopped to try and save them? Well, in typical CrossFit fashion, the organizers decided to continue with the event, and even after the death was confirmed, they released a statement stating that they will not shut down the games, suggesting that everyone in the community handles it in their own way, implying that finishing the race, no matter what, may be how Dukic would have wanted to be honored.
You think about Luka in that situation, I mean, what are you supposed to say? I mean, someone comes up to you after you just lost your brother hours ago and asks if we should continue with the games. What's he gonna say? No? I mean...
We may never know exactly why the body of a trained athlete such as Dukic decided to give out. However, based on the circumstances we do know, we can make some safe assumptions as to what went wrong. And while CrossFit as an organization may not be entirely responsible for causing it, did it really do much to prevent it?
We've been shouting for years about safety concerns, only to be patted on the head and told we're just being hysterical and complaining.
Is this just the predictable outcome of a fitness trend that emphasizes getting fit at any cost, even risking one's life? While this death wasn't caused by the primary concern often associated with CrossFit, it is still related.
This isn't war, this is sport, and I feel like we've been trying to, for some reason, find the athlete's breaking point for too long, and we found it.
And to understand what that concern is, we need to understand a bit more about CrossFit.
Welcome to CrossFit, Peter.
How's it different from a regular gym?
Do regular gyms have open garage doors where members' large dogs can charge innocent civilians?
It's now time to define fitness, and it's already up here on the board.
CrossFit.
CrossFit, according to the CrossFit Certification Manual, is a strength and conditioning program designed to improve overall physical competence across 10 fitness areas, such as cardio, endurance, stamina, strength, flexibility, etc. Instead of specializing in one type of fitness, CrossFit prepares athletes for a wide range of physical challenges, including those unpredictable. Unlike most gyms, which focus on isolated exercises and long aerobic sessions, CrossFit uses compound movements and short, intense cardio workouts. Functional movements, which engage multiple joints and the entire body, are central to CrossFit. They are effective for lifting heavy weights over long distances quickly and are crucial for generating high power. This power, defined by intensity, is key to maximizing exercise benefits. The main goal of CrossFit is to boost overall work capacity, which is crucial for improving performance across various domains. Former Navy SEAL Jocko Willink makes a good point.
I also think that CrossFit actually deserves a pretty good amount of credit for getting the general populace of the world moving in the right direction when it comes to fitness.
As we work to develop our understanding of human anatomy and physiology, it is important for the intern army to have an understanding of scientific ideas and technologies of the future. And there is no better place to explore these concepts than from the sponsors of this video, Brilliant. Brilliant is an online service dedicated to teaching you about science, technology, engineering, and math in a fun and engaging and interactive manner. And it is one of the most effective ways to learn these topics. Consider their foundational math lesson program. Starting first with the lesson solving equations, you'll next learn about understanding graphs before progressing to measurement. Next, you'll learn about more advanced topics, such as vectors. At the highest level, you'll learn about functions and quadratics, because who doesn't love a good quadratic equation? And new courses like real-world algebra are always being added on a month-to-month basis. You can start your education journey right now. To try everything Brilliant has to offer for a full 30 days at no cost, visit brilliant.org/Dr. Chris Raynor or click on the link in the description. According to CrossFit, their methodology is evidence-based, relying on measurable data to evaluate safety, effectiveness, and efficiency.
We had an individual weighing in at 200 pounds, about 6 feet tall, traveling 2 feet every rep.
It is also community-driven and open source, allowing input and collaboration from participants. And while that sounds good in theory, the main issue people have is that these compound movements that are a staple of CrossFit, such as squat, deadlift, clean and jerks, although designed to be efficient and effective, were not intended to be performed at maximum speed. Compound movements are already giving you more bang for your buck. And now add on to that the CrossFit programming, in which the WOD, or workout of the day, involves high-intensity intervals performed either as fast as freaking possible or until exhaustion. As the fitness trainers of Mind Pump explain,
there's a razor thin line between safe and dangerous. Your form goes off a little bit, it's very dangerous.
Especially considering movements are done for reps, catalyzed by a competitive environment where speed's important.
I understand the appeal of CrossFit, as journalist Dan Diamond notes in his Forbes article. It packs a big workout into a short time frame, acknowledging how powerful, rewarding, and habit-forming these intense workouts can be. However, moderation seems to be lacking in CrossFit. In an ABC News article, orthopedic surgeon Dr. Vonda Wright, go Vonda, has noted an increase in CrossFit-related injuries due to overuse and poor technique. She said, there's a real competitive nature to fight through the pain, to get through it, and to do really, really high numbers of reps, and there's not a lot of listening to your body going on. But what is going on though, and why do people think that pushing through is beneficial? Turns out the mind and the body may not be on the same page. As exercise scientist Menno Hesselman points out, central nervous system fatigue, which occurs when the brain and spinal cord struggle to activate muscles despite their capability, is often misunderstood. Contrary to common beliefs, low-intensity, long-duration exercise has been shown to cause more CNS fatigue than high-intensity, short-duration exercise. Basically, it's the long, drawn-out workouts that drain your brain, which can decrease focus and attention to detail. While CNS fatigue can recover quickly, often within 20 minutes, muscle fatigue takes significantly longer to resolve. This means that even if your brain recovers rapidly from exhaustion, your muscles may still need more time to be back on their A game. So, despite high-intensity interval training being okay, even preferable for the brain, tired muscles will continue to struggle with performance regardless of mental recovery. CrossFit workouts are highly demanding on the cardiovascular system, resulting in significant lactate buildup, which leads to extreme muscle fatigue in a short period of time. There are three main energy systems your body uses for different types of physical activity. The phosphagen system fuels quick, intense activities like sprints by using stored ATP in your muscles. The glycolytic system supports high-intensity efforts like boxing rounds by breaking down carbohydrates to produce ATP, resulting in lactic acid buildup if oxygen is limited. Both of these are considered anaerobic. The oxidative system, which is aerobic, used for longer, low to moderate intensity activities like distance running, relies on oxygen to produce energy from fats and proteins in the mitochondria of cells. CrossFit essentially uses the glycolytic system for high-intensity energy production, but the overall exercise format resembles the longer duration oxidative system. So during this hard exercise, your muscles need a lot of energy quickly, and your body can't use oxygen fast enough to break down sugar fully. So it makes lactate instead, and this can build up because your body can't get rid of it fast enough, which makes your muscles feel tired and sore during exercise. After exercising, your body clears lactate from your blood, and with regular training, it gets better at doing this. Strength trainer Pavel Tsatsouline describes what happens in the body. He suggests that CrossFit programming can be adjusted to make it safer and more effective by starting with longer periods of aerobic training to build tolerance to lactic acid. As competition approaches, switch to extended high-intensity training, since overloading the body with lactic acid too early can have negative effects.
The purpose of peaking is to get yourself in kind of a simulated competition where the acid is high enough to make your body adapt to it and to make yourself comfortable with high heart rates and breathing.
So your body can adapt pretty easily if you give it the opportunity to. That said, the body's increased need for oxygen during high-intensity interval training can itself have a beneficial side effect. It causes your body to burn calories even after the workout is finished due to a higher excess post-exercise oxygen consumption, or EPOC. This means your body requires extra oxygen to recover, which involves removing lactic acid buildup, repairing and rebuilding muscles, and replenishing energy stores. In this sense, there's actually a benefit to exhausting yourself during the workout. Another reason reason why people love CrossFit is because it's a full body workout. And unlike split workouts, example, the traditional bro split, in which people target specific muscle groups only each day, it activates protein synthesis more frequently.
You're getting more frequent stimulation of the muscles in your body, all of them, so that you're getting that opportunity to resume muscle protein synthesis every 48 hours or so.
Protein synthesis is the process in which the cells build new proteins, essential for muscle repair and growth following exercise. As your fitness progresses, your body adapts to stimuli, and so to increase muscle size with resistance training, it's important to follow the principle of progressive overload, which can be achieved through more volume, more sets, or more frequent workouts. People modify these variables to build ideal workout plans. While it's commonly recommended to allow at least 48 hours of rest between muscle groups, increasing training frequency may be more effective than adding more sets, since muscle protein response decreases with increased training.
There may be an upper limit to the number of sets you can do per muscle in a single workout before its benefit on muscle protein synthesis plateaus.
Right. So after a while, the sets may not actually be doing anything beneficial. The minimum effective volume is the least amount needed to start seeing benefits. On the other hand, the maximal volume can be categorized into two types: adaptive and responsive. Maximal adaptive is the optimal volume that yields the most improvements while still allowing for adequate recovery, making it sustainable.
People look at CrossFit and say that you can't recover from the sessions. You definitely can if you hit them properly. The amount of volume that you should do during that session shouldn't smoke you for the next day.
He's probably talking about the maximal adaptive volume. Maximal responsive is the highest amount you can handle before needing a break. Although pushing to this level occasionally can be necessary for growth, consistently training at this intensity can lead to injuries and potentially decrease overall performance. CrossFit often encourages people to push to that point and attempt to sustain it, because while high-intensity workouts are shorter compared to traditional 90-minute sessions, they're not necessarily short. And breaks are generally non-existent.
Minute 40 on, 20 seconds off, and then you get...
Minute 40 on, 20 seconds off?
Yeah.
Isn't it usually the other way around?
So hey, it may earn you the title of badass, but it's very taxing on the body.
This is gonna get nasty.
The intense pressure can sometimes overwhelm your body, leading to issues like losing control of your bladder, which is not uncommon, especially among women. As highlighted in a Vox article, leaving a puddle behind you after your workout is another widely embraced side effect. This issue can arise due to weak pelvic floor muscles, which can be worsened by hormonal changes during menopause that decrease estrogen levels, or from increased intra-abdominal pressure without adequate bladder muscle contraction. But pushing your body can have more serious side effects too. Rhabdomyolysis, which occurs in approximately 30 per 100,000 people, is straight up when you work out too freaking hard, bro. Your muscle fibers break down and release their damaged cells into your bloodstream, which can lead to kidney failure and potentially even death. Symptoms of rhabdo include severe generalized muscle pain, nausea and vomiting, abdominal cramping, and in significant cases, dark red Coca-Cola urine.
That's rhabdomyolysis piss. When you get rhabdo, your piss comes out looking like iced tea. And I don't mean the rapper.
Again, founder Glassman's take on it is basically, if you can't take the heat, get the hell out of the kitchen, while others in the community seem to joke about it. It's important to note that nearly half of those people who presented with injuries in that study were beginners. Additionally, with CrossFit certification being just a 2-day course, one might question whether trainers are adequately prepared to assess an athlete's fitness level, assign appropriate modifications, recognize when someone is struggling, and handle emergencies. While the specialty of CrossFit is not specializing, it's important that athletes know what they're doing and trainers are prepared to adequately guide them. Some of the most celebrated CrossFit athletes, Matt Fraser and Rich Froning, were already athletes before coming to CrossFit. Froning excelled in baseball throughout his teenage years, and Fraser was literally an Olympic lifter. Having said all of that, the actual injury rate of CrossFit isn't actually that much higher than other sports. Beside improper form, the other most common reason for injury was exacerbation of a prior injury. And the top competitors are no exception. For example, Rich Froning discussed in a podcast how he competed through pain, saying that if you're the average human being and you tear your meniscus, you take time to rest before hitting the gym again. If you're Rich Froning and you tear your meniscus, you suck it up, keep training, and then compete at regionals a week later. Matt Fraser had a similar experience while stretching his leg on the day of the 2017 CrossFit Games, but still went on to compete and win.
And that was actually like at a competition.
What'd you do?
Kept my mouth shut.
Wow.
Just like threw on a couple knee sleeves.
Whether this should be considered a prior injury is debatable, but the key point is that there was an injury that was ignored for the sake of competition. He makes it clear, though, that his approach to training has evolved as he's gotten older and more mature. While he used to cut corners, such as skipping warm-ups and cooldowns, he now takes a more disciplined approach for longevity. Even athletes at this level recognize the need for balance and sustainability.
Because you will burn out. Like you can't, we might set paces that, hey, you can't go over this just because the intensity every day in and day out. It's just hard to maintain.
To continuously improve, you may need to push yourself at times, but it's important to be smart about it to avoid burnout. CrossFit can be practiced responsibly by using submaximal loading, especially for beginners. This means working at approximately 70% of your rate of perceived exertion, or your RPE, and stopping before reaching failure. Even with this approach, you'll still gain notable benefits because the protein synthesis response is still fresh. As you continue training, the repeated effect helps your body better handle similar stress in the future, resulting in less soreness and muscle damage and an increased ability to push closer to your maximum capacity. But this underscores the importance of progressive overload to continue making gains as you become a more experienced athlete. As Dr. Zach Long said, it's all about finding the Goldilocks zone. And to do that, you have to have been in tune with your own body, because everybody's body is different. And you have to be able to intuitively know what your needs are regardless of what the trainer advises. Yes, they are there to push you, but they're also leading whole class, and so their instruction will inevitably be generalized. And it can be challenging for beginners to listen to their intuitive voice in a CrossFit class with high intensity and peer pressure. While preliminary data seems to suggest the community aspect helps with motivation, this environment can sometimes be more detrimental to a beginner's progress. Many non-CrossFit trainers observe that average individuals looking to get into shape rather than already fit athletes find the atmosphere too intimidating, bro.
And a super intense competitive environment of training is one of the worst things that that person can be in. It's already tough for that person to get fit and to get in shape. That is not sustainable for most people.
Of course, this will depend on the individual, but it's food for thought. As someone in the fitness industry, we obviously want people to be able to sustain their fitness and to genuinely enjoy the process. While exercise is inherently challenging, the goal is to learn to love your health. CrossFit programming has been evolving in recent years to reflect this.
The truth is it's getting a lot better.
Yeah.
It's getting a lot better. So I have less problems with it. But the reality of why it's getting a lot better is because it's getting more like real training.
Yeah, it's moving away.
So it's not really CrossFit anymore.
They point out that the reason it has survived is because it has moved away from its initial extreme approach. That is to say, a clown puking from training so hard to adopting more sustainable and effective programming. Remember, to trial Brilliant free for 30 days, visit brilliant.org/Dr. Chris Raynor or click on the link in the description. Developing a healthy relationship with your body and training is important. Although pushing yourself to the limit can drive short-term growth, long-term success relies on sustainability. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave us a comment and give it a big thumbs up to feed the algorithm. If this is your first time to the channel, be sure to subscribe for more content that helps you understand human anatomy in an engaging way. If you didn't like the video, be sure to let me know why in the comment section down below. I read as many comments as I can, and we use your feedback to make our videos better for you. Don't forget to follow my gym, Human 2.0 Fitness, for free right here on YouTube, where we post content that helps you move better and prevent injury. Or its sister channel, Human at Home, where you can learn how to be healthy where you live. Otherwise, as always, that's been a word from Dr. Chris, not your everyday ortho, where we see one, do one, teach one, bro.